Hello, everybody. My name is Evan Freiberger, and we're looking currently at potential tropical cyclone 8 that is off of the coast of South and North Carolina. We're going to be doing just a brief update on this storm. It does look like it is becoming more and more likely that this will be, at the very least, a tropical storm as it approaches the East Coast. So we're going to be going over all the latest data and everything that you need to know on this storm. So let's go ahead and break it down. Let's set this in motion. You can already tell that we are getting some colder cloud tops here. Once you get into those oranges and reds, that's where you're getting their coldest cloud tops within this storm. Greens are a little bit warmer, but all that essentially shows you is that, we've got some thunderstorm activity close to actually the center of this storm. So it's already trying to organize. You can see there's definitely a little bit of swirl in there. This thing actually already has a mid-level rotation to it, but we're waiting to see if that's going to drop all the way down to the surface, and we'll either get a subtropical storm or a tropical storm out of this system if it can get rid of the kind of cold frontal boundary that is interacting with it. All right, and this is the cone of uncertainty, and as you can see, it seems like the highest probability here for landfall is going to be South Carolina. There's not really any of this cone of uncertainty in North Carolina, but eventually, this wind field will be pretty large, which we'll be going over in just a little bit. And as that pushes into the United States near South Carolina, North Carolina, could see tropical storm conditions for both states as this makes landfall, also tornado risk. But, going into tonight or an early morning, we're expecting this thing to officially form into tropical storm Helene, and we're expecting this thing to have 45-mile-per-hour wind gust and 60-mile-per-hour wind gust before we even get into the land. Oh, sorry, I said that a little bit wrong. 45-mile-per-hour wind speeds and max gust of 60 miles per hour. The difference between those two, declarations there between gusts and sustained wind speeds is the fact that gusts are kind of the highest the winds can get, and sustained max wind speed, the first number on the top here, is what we are expecting to kind of be the winds over time. They will all be kind of around that 45 mile per hour range. So those will last a little bit longer than the gust will. Right as this thing makes landfall, we're going to be expecting it to have 50 mile per hour winds and max gust of 65 mile per hour winds. As of right now, most of the models are indicating sometime in between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. here, with the average of that being at around 1 p.m. So we do have, not a whole lot of time before this makes landfall, but don't freak out. This isn't going to be some crazy storm. We're probably going to get some spotty power outages here and there. There's going to be a potential for flooding rain. We'll talk about that further into the future of this forecast. But after that, this thing quickly turns into a tropical depression. So the winds are going to stop being, too much of a power outage issue, but we're still going to be expecting some rain, maybe some storms to happen there. And now looking at the warnings of this storm, as you can see, we can already have a wide area here in these yellow boxes is a tropical storm warning. This is including Charleston, Monix Corner, Georgetown, Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Oak Island, just to the east of Wilmington, near Wilmington Beach, Beaufort, and just to the south of Ocracoke. I think that's how you say it. But regardless, if you guys are in this warning, expect some tropical storm-like conditions. Again, this is either going to be a subtropical storm or tropical storm, but just be weather aware. Just stay away from the coast, be indoors when the worst impacts start to come up, and you will be fine, I promise. Looking at the potential rainfall for this system, we're expecting anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rain over there near Wilmington. This might shift around as we get closer, but for the most part, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches is going to be possible in spotty areas across the coast, with the most rain being where this thing, on the northern side of where this thing makes landfall. And then down the line, maybe 2 to 4 inches. And then in the light green there, that is going to be 1 to 2 inches. You can notice here as we go higher into elevation, we have a little bit more of a potential for a little bit more rain with that orographic lift, which is essentially just, the mountains are causing rain. And, that you see some spotty little areas there of 4 to 6 inches of rain being possible. So, just keep an eye out. If you do get a flash flood warning, take it seriously. Watch the waters on the road and near your backyard and on the streams and rivers. In terms of storm surge, we're just not really expecting that much, maybe 1 to 3 feet possible all the way from Oregon Inlet down to South Santee River. Just stay away from the beaches. We could also see that storm surge kind of make its way into this little inlet area. Palm, Netco, and Pungo rivers could also kind of swell up on the banks there, and Neuse and Bay River also need to be watching out for some storm surge. Just, if you live anywhere near this river or the coast of North and South Carolina, just make sure that you guys are paying attention to how high those waters are. Don't be too close to the beach. And if you have your house on the beach, I would consider, at least for a day or two, be away from the shore as this thing makes landfall. In terms of the average wind speed of this thing as it makes its way onto land, this is the H-mod, one of our hurricane models. We'll be looking at a couple of them. You can see that, as we get closer to landfall, could have some areas out and around this storm at around, anywhere from 40 to 60 miles per hour. And again, going to have some gusts in there, maybe a little bit higher. And then as it pushes further into land, you can see that we're still going to have widespread tropical depression. But after this point, we're really not going to have much winds. I mean, maybe 30 to 40 miles per hour as we go in the Monday morning. But again, this is not going to really be that strong of a storm. You're going to, in terms of power outages, might be some here and there. The main impact's going to be right along the coast with that storm surge and that wind. Now looking at the HAFS model, another hurricane model here, you can see that it's going to make a landfall a little bit later, but then as this thing approaches the coast, you can see we can have anywhere from 30 to 40, maybe 50 mile per hour winds start to form on this. This is a little bit further north than some of our other models, just kind of showing that we still do have a little bit of spread, a little bit of wiggle room, but the majority of the models is bringing this into parts of South Carolina. Now we're looking at the GFS here as well, and let's go ahead and bring this forward into the future. You can see that the GFS is not as bullish on this storm, a little bit of a weaker storm, still a tropical storm, but definitely on the weaker side of a tropical storm spectrum. At landfall, maybe 30 to 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts, and as it pushes in, you can really see, further down the line here. I mean, we're really only talking about 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, and maybe gusts just a little bit higher than that. Just really not too impactful of a storm further inland. So, we're not really worried about inland impacts right now, even though it looks like the cone of uncertainty is coming at you. The impacts will be quite weak after landfall. In terms of the tornado risk for tomorrow, we are going to be expecting some tornadic conditions. You can see we do have a 2% over here. Also have a 2% up there in the northern plains as well, over there near Grand Forks. But the main one that we're going to be focused on for this forecast is, a little 2% there on the northern side of the storm, the northeastern quadrant. Could get some water spouts coming onto land. There is an argument to be made that some of this tornado risk could be, a little bit stronger if the storm is a little bit more organized. And so we got to keep an eye on that. We might see a small upgrade as we get closer to landfall. But for now, we're talking about a 2% tornado risk for areas like Wilmington, just to the east of Raleigh, well north of Charleston, mainly just a small sliver there of northern South Carolina, also Kitty Hawk, and then also potentially, Myrtle Beaches, in northern South Carolina could also potentially get impacted by this, but I do think it's going to be a little bit north of that. So, if you live pretty much anywhere on the coast of North Carolina, you need to be watching for a small tornado risk for now, and also waiting for those latest forecasts up tomorrow just to see if this thing is going to be upgraded with this tornado risk. We could get a 5%, which means we might see a couple tornadoes. All right, that's going to be it for me. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate you guys big time continuing to come back to each forecast. We might cover this storm if it does pose a little bit more of a tornado risk. If it doesn't, I probably won't go live for landfall. We'll see. We'll monitor it. But again, the impacts are going to be pretty minimal. Just as long as you're indoors, you're not going to really feel too much of an issue. It might be a loud storm with the wind, but other than that, I don't think I'm going to go live for this. But if you did enjoy the forecast, make sure you are hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help out the channel a lot in helping us reach more people. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys on the next forecast or live stream. See you then.